Welcome, everybody. I'm immigration lawyer John Kasrabi coming to you live in Los Angeles, California for a regular Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern time, where we go over U.S. immigration law questions for general education purposes only. It's December 12th. Thank you all for joining us on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. Feel free to shoot your questions over. I'll do my best to give a general good answer about what's going on, because I know the immigration process can be pretty confusing and random, and you get different kinds of information. I'll give what I know is going on to the best extent possible. Timelines are all over the place. I can't really give reliable answers to that one. I'm sure I'm going to get 1,000 questions about that. Daryl, good to see you. Good to see you on YouTube. So yeah, shoot out your questions. If you're interested in a marriage green card case, download the guide at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. It's a PDF. It's a guide called Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide that 40 plus pages. I think you'll like it. It's something interesting to do. Just go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com and download that before you decide to move forward on your fiance visa or marriage green card case. I know a lot of things you have to know beforehand. And that way, when you do have a consultation with an attorney, you can have better answers to questions to ask, so you get better answers as opposed to asking about generalized kind of stuff. So having said that, let's jump to some community questions and all that kind of stuff. As I got to reiterate, this is intended for education purposes only, not individual legal advice. Malik asked, are there any changes for the dreamers? There people DACA kind of people when they came as children? Unfortunately, no changes. Administration has not really helped that part of the immigration process other than what it's been practically speaking. Simon Angel asks, why do people from certain countries get asylum interviews and others? Isn't it discrimination? Should the government be sued? It's all over the place, these delays. I don't know. I don't have statistics that say certain countries get more asylum interviews or asylum than other people for any reason. If you could, muster up a good argument or proof of that, you give it a shot and sue, that. But, it's not, I'm not sure if that's the case. Jordan, one of our regulars, good to see you. Hey, John, what's good? Been a minute. I hear that I can come to the U.S. with a visitor visa, search and apply for a job, potentially get an H-2B visa. How doable and tricky is it? Well, you can't really enter on a tourist visa, a visitor visa, because when you do that, you're really entering for visitor purposes. And if you go and try to, you can search and apply for a job too, per se, but you can't work in the United States. And it's kind of tricky. If you say I'm trying to find a job, they're not going to let you in. But if you hear in some job opportunity comes, you talk to some people, that's okay. H-2B has its own complications. It's not doable or tricky. It really depends on the facts and how long you've been here, who the employer is, what your background is, all that kind of stuff. So with immigration, sometimes it's really easy for some people and sometimes it'll be tricky for others. It's just too much stuff we need to know to know what's going on. Aileen says, hello to you too, Aileen. We got a question from Blue Moon. Blue Moon asks, how long does it take after marriage How long did it take marriage adjustment after submitting I-693? It'll be 1 to 6 months. Daryl says I-130 and I-131 still not approved or 10 months. Is this common? Yeah, it's like we have marriage adjustment cases done in 2 months, 3 months, and sometimes like I have one that's a year and a half. The timeline the average is anywhere from 3 months to 2 years, frankly. Anywhere between there is normal. For sure, a year and 2 months or something like that is very normal. Once it goes past a year and a half, then it's like, let's get too much. But it's all over the place, these timelines. And as Kenneth Siley with the green card, travel different countries without travel documents. No, it's better you get a refugee travel document if you are a refugee, because you're not supposed to be using the passport of your home country because you've declared asylum away from that location. Hello Kitty says, I was deported after attempted murder, and 17 years ago I applied for I-134. Will it be approved? I-134 is this special review for you. Will be approved if you had inadmissibility. When it comes to what you're asking for is parole, and they can do whatever they want with parole. If they want to have you come, but you probably are inadmissible, but I don't know your court record and stuff like that. If you're deported, attempted murder, probably it's gonna be hard for you to come back, but government can do whatever it wants. Simon follows up, which states' immigration offices are allowing asylum to be the most? I know there's no clear jurisdiction on this yet. I just want to know which place are doing it based on your statistics. Well, I don't have all the statistics. Anything I have is anecdotal. And when you ask each state has California has 10, if not more, different USCIS offices, and each one has different culture. So I know you probably emailed me asking this question. I think you did in the past. You worded it the same way. It's just really consistent. There's offices like in Florida that I've seen deny it and approve it. So it's luck of the draw. I wouldn't rely on it working unless you just want to give it a shot. Lily asks, hi, John, do we apply for CR1 after the I-130 for the marriage petition? If so, how long does usually CR1 take? So don't call it CR1, IR1 and stuff. Immigration lawyers don't call it that. Just say your I-130 petition or something like that. It depends. Lily, download my guide. It goes through this. It has a chart too. It's marriageimmigrationlaw.com. It's a PDF you can download there. No charge. But if you're overseas, you start with the I-130, and once that's approved, you work with the National Visa Center to schedule an interview with the embassy. So how long does that take? It depends on which country you're from, how much luck you have. Some people's I-130s take 3 months. Some people's I-130 takes a year and a half. And then some people, embassy appointments are backed up 2-3 years. Some of them are only taking 2-3 months. So, it could be 6 months. It could be 3 years. And I don't know if your spouse is a U.S. citizen or green card holder. If your spouse is a green card holder, it could be 4, 5, 6 years right now, the way things are looking. So Lily, there's just not enough information in your question. I need to follow up your question with 4 to 6 different questions just to begin knowing where you're at or which process you're doing. So I give a somewhat of a proper answer, which will still be useless answer because timelines are so inconsistent that, Blue Moon says status shows is pending. Yeah, I just got a pen. Malik says, how likely is a cancellation removal case for 29-year-old female? Our office, we don't do removal defense cases. So cancellation removal is something you do in immigration court for removal defense. Because we don't handle that, I don't want to comment on that. I'll leave that to the experts. Assignment agent follows up, is it advisable? Well, I can't advise anything because I don't know you. So nothing is advisable that I say here. You say your request an assignment interview and a misdemeanor accusation is pending. That's huge, man. If you have criminal accusations, you need to talk with the attorney in private. That there's no good information I can provide here that's going to be helpful for you. Okay, user 9 says, how do I work in the USA as a software engineer for Canada? Do I need a TN visa, then green card? You could either or, but they're kind of strict about software engineers for TN. So you got to make sure you get the right stuff going on. But if you find an employer that wants to do it, you give it a shot. A says, I applied for an I-131, still in response. Sorry to hear that. Is COVID vaccine still mandatory for the green card? Yes, it is, unfortunately. It's kind of a mess, but unfortunately it is. How long does it take to submit medical green card? I don't know what a medical green card is. Go Crazy says, I did my medical exam. How long should I wait for my green card to arrive? I don't know. There's no answer to that. What advice do you have for a 2L in law school? Get to know yourself, analyze yourself, become a better person, better skills when it comes to sales and communications and thinking and writing, but also as a person, just know why you're doing stuff, what your passion is, where it's coming from, where your love belongs, and gear your life towards that and make the law work for you in that sense. To find a job that fits your love and passion, as opposed to doing what they tell you as a 2L to work in like corporate law, be one of the top 5%, all that kind of stuff, and live a lifestyle that may not be one that's suited for you. Well, he says, when can a student apply of not eligible for DACA? What can a student apply for if not eligible for DACA? I don't know. There's just not enough information there. You got to talk with an attorney in private. So I can't give that kind of generalized advice. I don't know enough about you. Harris says, when can one apply for asylum under Title 8? We don't handle asylum law. Nanny says, how long about NBC F2 visa East Africa? Are they working on their backlog? East Africa has a lot of different countries in there, and they have different backlogs. Pretty much one of the worst in the country, but every month is different. I can't really talk about timelines. Mohammed says, who's eligible for online I-589? Just go to I-589 website. It'll talk about eligibility there. User 95 asks, we already answered that. Lillian says, I have a green card interview, marriage-based. What is the advice you can give me? Download the guide, the marriage immigration guide, and there's some questions in there. Know your facts about your relationship. Have your documents in order. I don't know what documents you need. I don't know what facts you have, so I can't really give you good advice. But just know your stuff. Be prepared to answer. Have it ready there. Take it seriously. A lot of times people go there and be like, oh, we're real. We have nothing to worry about. And then they just completely mess up. They forget about really basic stuff, and they get nervous. So that's why you have an attorney. You prep with them. So you go there, okay, well, you'll probably be okay. Statistically, you'll probably get approved. User 95 says, how do I work in the U.S. or answer that question? That's like the 5th time you posted that. Does DUI affect asylum case? It can. File for asylum, waiting for 150 days for EAD. How long? I don't know. You can sue them, but I don't know the timelines. How long will it take T status from asylum adjustment through marriage, U.S. citizenship? How long will it take to status from asylum to adjustment status to marriage? I don't know, Blue Moon. I got to see what's going on with your case. These timelines, I have this conversation every week on our live. but it's like the timelines are so inconsistent all over the place. I could tell you some numbers and make you happy, but then it's just going to be useless because then whatever I tell you is wrong. So please ask about some like contents or something like that. Please stop asking about timelines because it takes the joy out of doing this live completely away. Because I'd say the same thing. I don't know. If I knew, I would be, betting on the stock market if I could tell timelines. It's that random with the immigration how these timelines work out. They just it was a chart. I had a client who was a fiance visa case. And when we started the case, you file Form I-129F when you're doing asylum. I'm sorry, when you're doing a fiance visa. And statistically, the average wait time for a I-129F for a fiance visa was 6 months with USCIS. As soon as we filed the case, USCIS had some massive problems. The timeline went from 6 months to like 15 to 18 months, something like that. And we had to wait. The client got really frustrated, mad at me. He's like, why did you say this? Why did you say this? You lied to me, just accusing me of lying to get his case and just making up timelines. And then, by the time you start accusing me of that, USCIS released their timeline reports. And I said, look, when we submitted your case, their estimate timeline was 6 months. And now when you're yelling at, well, not yelling, it was not frustrated, obviously. It's saying, 16 months, 17 months, something like that. I can't remember what it was. It's like 6 months ago. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? When we started the case, this was what it was. And it changes. Life changes. So, and then just like it goes longer, all of a sudden it goes faster. So we're getting marriage adjustment cases. Marriage adjustment is when you do a green card in the United States based on like marriage to U.S. citizen or something like that. They're taking average 9 months, went to 6 months, went to 2 or 3 months. We're getting cases approved in 2 or 3 months. At the same time, like 30% of my cases are taking 1 to year and a half. How long does this take? 2 months versus 18 months? That's such a wide timeline and a worthless timeline to say somebody. It's embarrassing for me to say. How long does it take? I don't know, 2 months, 18 months. And then for a fiance visa in particular, that's just the first step. Then you got to schedule an embassy interview. And some embassies are taking 2 years to schedule an embassy interview. Some are taking a month. So it depends on which embassy you have, which 99% of the time when y'all ask me a question, you don't tell me all the details. And then, it's just so much to it that, I just don't know. So that is it. Do you deal with I-6-1 waivers? Yeah, our office does that. What kind of cases do we take? We take 2 types of cases. One's based on love, one based on passion. So if you have a loved one, marriage, fiance, brother and sister, parent, children, these are love green cards. We do those. And passion. So if you're passionate about what you do, you're one of the best, your best author, actor, singer, scientist, and you have some passion about it. So like I'm passionate about immigration law, and I have a magazine I publish about immigration law. I have several podcasts, and I'm working on organizations and training tools and stuff like that because I'm passionate about that. If I was a foreign person and want to come to the U.S., I'd be able to get what's called the O1 visa. Potentially, if I work a little harder, get an EB1. I've gotten awards for what I do. So that's that. So if you're in love or you have a loved one that's close, we could do something. If you have a passion for something like that, we could do something. I don't help people in humanitarian cases where they're being deported or they're victims, of abuse by the country, asylum or stuff like that. We don't do those kind of cases. We do VAWA as an exception. We have an attorney that does those. And we don't do people with serious criminal history, frankly. So that's it. So I hope that helps. Lee follows up. Thank you, John. My husband's a U.S. citizen applying abroad. I'm in Greece. It's been 6 months since we filed. What does it mean actively reviewing? It was updated 3 months ago. It just means they're actively reviewing your case and just got to wait, really. It's going to take a bit. Okay, let's go back to questions. Mohammed says, sir, my F4 family immigration visa category will be moving near future. Please advise. I'm not control of the timelines for immigration. I can't advise on when it's going to move. Malik follows up. Citizen mom petition for an overstayed daughter in the U.S. How long does it take to approve? An interview cannot be in the United States. Well, no, unless you have some sort of exception, you have to do constant processing. And since you overstayed, you're going to have to file a waiver. So first, you need to get your I-130 approved. Then you got to get a waiver approved. Overstay visa is a parent or qualifying relative. I'm not sure if you can get an I-601A. I don't handle the waivers in my office. This I-601A is a waiver for a thing like overstaying or misrepresentation. And you have to have a qualifying relative. Because you're an overstay, you can use what's called an I-618 application for a provisional presence waiver. But you have to have a qualifying family member. And typically a qualifying family member is a U.S. citizen or green card holder, spouse. And then, or I think it's, you are the child or a spouse or child of a principal. Where is it? Establish your U.S. citizen LPR, have a spouse or a parent. So if your parent citizen, maybe you could do it. You have to show they have extreme hardship. So it may be possible, The problem is if you're an adult child of a citizen, that case is going to take years to get approved, and then more years to get the 601 approved because those are backed up, and then getting an appointment. I mean, it depends on which embassy you're at. So you're looking at like probably a decade of waiting or something like that. But you can start the process. I'm not sure how far into you are, Malik. Lobby says, hi, my mother had a tourist visa. Someone made false accusations on her. Is it possible to get a lawyer to find out who that was? I have no idea. We don't handle this kind of stuff. Sardasti asks, I'm a Canadian citizen. How can I get a job offer to apply for TN? Just the same way you get a job offer for someone in Canada, you got to find some jobs. Asaf Farouk says, hey, can the U.S. government relocate to another embassy other than Islamabad for waiting time for interview Afghan? I think Afghans are designated in Pakistan. I don't know exactly, but typically it's very hard to move your immigrant visa case unless there's special circumstances. For Afghanistan, they said for non-immigrant visas, they allow you to go anywhere. If you don't speak the language, it becomes hard. You probably better do in Pakistan, which is backed up. For immigrant visas, green card cases, is stricter. Probably, if you really want to really push it, maybe you can move it to another embassy, but it's you got to go there and fly there and have a visa there. It gets complicated, so you got to see what makes sense practically for you, and if it's impossible, reaching out to them. Why is NBC taking so long to interviews? NBC doesn't schedule interviews. The embassy, the National Visa Center, doesn't schedule interviews. It's the embassy, the U.S. embassy in that country, and they're backed up and they're understaffed. Molly says, thanks so much for answering all my questions. Appreciate it. You're welcome, Molly. God bless. I wish you the best. Schedule a consult with their office. You got to talk with their attorney who does waivers too. It's a paid consultation, but Molly, that can help you out. Amon says, common law marriage is acceptable for Texas for immigration purposes. I don't handle state law, so I'd refer you to a Texas lawyer. I'd have to analyze that. I don't want to advise on state law for these kind of purposes in a public setting. Leanne says, what to expect at a marriage-based green card interview? I already got into that with you already. I explained it. Natasha says, good night to you too. Harpy says, I have a misdemeanor. Can I travel on advance parole? I don't know what your misdemeanor charges are, so a conviction is, so I can't answer that. Rowan, what are the next steps after I marry my fiance within 90 days with K1? You file for adjustment of status from I-485, and you should submit an affidavit of support to show you can financially support your spouse. Congratulations on getting married, Rowan. And you should also submit a form I-131 for advanced parole travel document and a I-765 application for employment authorization, work permit. You should definitely do those. People sometimes file on their own, don't know you can do those, no extra fee. You got to do it. TikTok says, can I get an internship with the F2 visa? No, that'd be work. Can I go homecoming by asylum case that approved? I don't know what that means. Can you go home if you got asylum approved? You're not supposed to do that. Let's just put it that way. Blue Moon says, thank you so much for the best. Very responsive. You're welcome, Moon. God bless you. Macau says, does the sponsor have to live in the same state? No. Maui says, okay. Natasha, I have a question. Why is the immigration taking so long with cases who applied during COVID time? Because it's just bureaucracy that's a little messed up. Una says, hello, I'm a citizen 3 months ago, got approval. Congrats. For my husband's I-130, still waiting for welcome letter. Is it normal? What may have happened, you may have improperly designated where you want your husband's case to be processed. You may have said you want to do it in the United States, that he's here, but he's not. That typically happens if you haven't got it. Look at your I-130 approval notice, see what it says there. And then if it says it was sent to the National Visa Center, contact the National Visa Center. It should have an email address on that, and you follow up to see what's happening. Andrex, if you mistakenly made a mistake and kept the case in the U.S. instead of sending overseas, you got to file Form I-824 or a new I-130. Schedule a consult with their office. But if you search Google, YouTube for I-824 JQK law, essentially if you type in I-824, 9 out of 10 videos on this subject will be from my videos, so you can check it out there for more information. Andre says, will the F2A return to current at any point? I can't guess the future. I don't know. Safarahum says, how long can a green card holder stay overseas to not lose U.S. green card? It's up to the officers to deal with when you come back. I've seen people be out for 9 years and come back no problem. But the official thing I have to tell you is don't be outside for more than 180 days and avoid repeated 4 or 5 month absences from the United States. That's the letter of the law. I mean, the book, I got to say. But it's all up to discretion. Claudia asks, hello, my I-485 says the processing time 2 months now. Can I expect to improve? No expectations. You just got to wait. The timelines they give you are inaccurate. So you're welcome, Luna. Zion says, my priority just concurrent, and I have already been DQ. What can I expect now? Hopefully get an interview appointment notice. How long does the I-730 process take? You know, the I-730 is for family members of asylees that are overseas, and those are average taking like a year or two. It's pretty crazy. But we recently did one. for a family, and it got approved like in 2 months. So it's pretty crazy. Machiavelli says, does the sponsor, or answer that question. Joanna says, how come some people get approved even though they have a permanent bar? Good lawyer or luck? There is a waiver of the permanent bar if they've been outside the U.S. for 10 years. And I don't think it's necessarily good lawyer. It's more luck. It's like USCIS makes mistakes all the time. They don't catch stuff all the time. And maybe they won't catch it now, but 3, 5, 10 years down the line, they'll reopen the book, do a review, and find it out. Then they're really going to have problems. So it is what it is. H1 Wallace says, sir, when can one apply for citizenship after getting green card via EB category? At least 5 years after getting green card if you match all the other requirements. Let's see. Can you apply for a spouse visa with the form I-130 without pictures? You can, but just try to get some pictures. Okay, Machiavelli keeps asking the same question, which I've answered. Does the sponsor have to live in the same state? No. Mid-Circle says, do you think filing mandamus lawsuit after 1 year of finished processing will be beneficial? If you're tired and you want to get something going, then yeah. I have a master's degree. I want to apply for O1. How can one go about doing that? Schedule a consultation with our office, but essentially you have to have some sort of work itinerary lined up and show you meet the requirements for an O1, and that's something you can do. Does the mandamus really work? Yeah. How long is I-6-1 waiver? 1 to 4 years. Just moved to the U.S. on H-1B. What options to get a green card? Same options you had before you got the H-1B. Please tell us about fiancé visa. How long will it take? I already talked about timelines. File for VAWA and stop USI's interview. What should I take with me? You need to have an attorney review your case with you to see what's needed. Please tell us. Okay, answer that. My mom interviewed last week. They asked for a DS 5535. Yeah, just fill it out and give it to them. Make sure the info is correct and not troublesome. Their boss says, file for VAWA. We are answered that one. Hi, can I travel the country and have a pending N400? Yes, just don't be outside for too long. GTTIFF says, I married my spouse overseas months ago. He decided to stay after visiting. Do you have to wait 90 days? I married my spouse overseas months ago. He decided to stay after visiting. Do you have to wait 9 days? It's better. Why not? Akash says, if I have a U.S. visa, is it to regard to the last question from GTTIF, download my guide at marriageimmigrationlaw.com and schedule a consultation to talk about it. But marriageimmigrationlaw.com, download the guide. If I have a U.S. visa, is it easy to get a Canadian visa? I'm not a Canadian immigration attorney. Sean says, by travel document, if I go to a third country and got married after back USA, can I apply for her? By travel documents, I mean, if you have status, you can, if you're a green card holder or citizen. How can I get my work permit if my clock stops at 60 days? I don't know. I don't handle asylum cases. Can I leave the U.S. with I-539 pending? You can, but it may lead to the case being abandoned, depending on what kind of case you have. Ono says, can I remove the principal applicant on I-130 form at NBC and continue the process? No. You can only go for you have to do separate petitions for those people. Cruz says, what waiver do I need if I entered the USA when I was 3 years old, never left since then? You overstayed. So unless you got DACA before you're 18 and a half or have some other exceptions, you're going to probably need an I-6-1 waiver at least. Colossus says, I'm a green card holder. If I petition my son soon to be husband from PH, can he apply DS-160 to visit? He can. You can apply. It's up to the embassy whether they're going to approve a visitor visa or not. It's all over the place. They may or may not. When your I-130 gets approved, for how long for embassy takes to contract? Well, it depends if you're a citizen or green card holder. If you're a citizen, they should contact you in 1 to 3 months. Yemen King said, how long does it take for a wife visa? I'm a college student, government employee. I don't know your status. I don't know which country you're going through. I don't know other issues in your case. I don't know. Mom says, spoke with immigration attorney, was told to avoid co-sponsor, apply asylum instead. Isn't that fraud? Yeah, if it's a fraudulent asylum, yeah, that's going to be fraud. Doris says, I got it. I'm in the USA. Thanks for your insight. Helped a lot. All right, Doris, congratulations. If you had time, please review for our law firm. Go to Google, type in jqqlaw.com or JQK Law. Just put 5 stars. You don't have to even explain anything, but it really helps out to get these reviews. Steve G says, what are the chances of N336 approval? That question doesn't lead anywhere because if you have a good case, it's a good chance. If you have a bad case, then you have a bad chance. So just asking chances, it doesn't give any value. That's helpful for you. Yak says, do you know how long it takes for N400 case to be approved out of Texas? How long they want to take? Can you get citizenship if you have DWI and you have a green card? Most likely, but it's discretion. Mara says, would you please talk about the timeline of fiancé visa? I already talked about it 2 or 3 times today, so you got to catch the recording. Someone says, do you do EAD combo cards renewal? You can. You'd have to do separate, so it can be separate approvals, but why not? Mahmoud says, I submit my adjustment of status of marriage 2023. Yeah, just got to wait. Cherry says, after I got my work permit, how long? You got to wait. What's next, interview or interview waived? I don't know what your case is. Do you have free consultations? Nope. How to remove fraud for 30 years ago, pathway to citizenship? You got to get a waiver. I received my SSN, says valid for work only at the job. How long for EAD? I don't know how long it takes them. I had my citizenship interview, but they didn't give me an answer. I checked online. It says oath. I don't know. I don't know your case. I'm a USA citizen. Which one is faster between fiancé and marriage case? It varies depending on the country. And what do you mean faster? To get the green card, to get to the United States? There's these questions. That's why we have consultations. We got to get into it more. Myra says, because there's the different things that could happen depending on what you're doing in your background. Mariam asks, got 5 minutes. Mariam asks, I'm on F1 visa, getting married to U.S. citizen. So how long does it take to have adjustment status? 3 months, 2 years. User 17 says, I have a question. We do this case all the time, Mariam. So contact our office. It's our focus. Our number one case we do is F1 students getting married. It's our bread and butter kind of case. So we do the best job at that one. Jody says, I'm Cuban. Can I adjust status? How do I cancel my court? I don't handle Cuban cases. Best to contact a lawyer in Florida. They handle it more. I'm in California, so we don't deal with Cuban stuff too often at all, really. So contact a lawyer in Florida. What is the process to renew a 2-year green card? Form I-751, removal conditions. Suyan says, how long to wait to renew the green card? How long do you have to wait to renew? If you have a 2-year green card, you have a 9-day window before expiration. If it's a 10-year green card, you have a 6-month window before expiration to file. Lily says, I received my SSN. I never sent in my medical documents. Is that normal? SSN and medical documents are different things. What happens when your N336 is approved? Depends on what the basis is, but you get oath ceremony probably. How long does it take to issue a work permit after fingerprinting? There's no correlation between the work permit and fingerprinting. Suyan says, thank you. That helped. You're welcome, Suyan. God bless you. Rio Shadabi says, if in USCIS account in my procker said estimate case for decision 4 months is accurate? No, none of the timelines you're going to get are accurate. Not even worth looking at because it's just going to frustrate you. Mustafa says, I have a case with immigration court. I don't handle vision court. Yak says, do you know how long it'll take? And we're going to answer that question that I don't know. Any questions about timelines? I don't know. So we're wrapping it up in a few minutes. What is the approval rate for EB2 NIW? I don't keep track of that because it doesn't make a difference. It's like, do you have a good case or do you have a bad case? Looking at approval rates and stuff is not a worthwhile thing, especially because every couple of years their standards change. So it's like it varies. So you just got to have a good case. What is next? Interview in Morocco? I don't know. I don't keep track of every single embassy's processing times. All right. So I guess with that, we got a couple of minutes. If you got some questions, we'll throw it in there. But again, these processing times, we can have general stuff. I keep wanting to make a chart. I'm just swamped with work. I'm looking for a few good people to work with my firm that are really experienced. If you're overseas, it's kind of better because we like people overseas that can help out with stuff too. But we have team members. I have all these ideas. I want to make these charts to help everyone understand the timelines better. But making the charts and creating this stuff takes time. So you got a bazillion things they got to do. But I'm getting there. Developing a company. We're going to do it. Brian Block says, can you hire someone outside the country and file the work visa for them? Yes. Katie says, I get an interview, but no answer. Is the good or bad petition for parent? I got an interview, but no answer. Is the good or a bad petition for parent? I'm not sure what that even means. You got to reword your question. Do you help with asylum cases? No. Update AB4. Sorry, don't have any court employee here. Brian is relaxing. He's court employee here. You got it. U visa. I don't know, sir. How are you? Question. I don't handle asylum. Mara says, can a green card holder be applied at the same time you apply for adjustment? If the case could be current, jointly filed and current. I don't know. I need more information about your case. If your spouse is a U.S. citizen, it can be filed concurrently. Brian is most kind of gets denied. What's for overstayed visa? I don't know what that means. Which one do you recommend? The fiancé visa, marriage visa? I don't make recommendations for people I don't know. So I got to see what works. Schedule a consultation, Brian Blacks, with me or my associate, Anya Segeva. And once we know what your goals are, your background are, what country you're from, and we explain stuff, then you can take it from there. When I have an M400 pending case, what is the maximum number of days? I don't know what the maximum number is. It's just you got to be living in the United States. That's what they're looking for. Don't be outside for more than 180 days. 4 or 5 months would be problematic. But if your life is here and it's a temporary trip, then that's okay. Charles says, for spouse visa in 2020, but my wife still waiting for interview. How long? I don't know. I don't know. How much are your consultations? Between $200 to $325, depending on the attorney at the firm that you want to have a consultation with. Jana says, I have a green card. How can I bring my family to U.S. as a tourist visa? You can't bring your family. Your family has to apply for their own tourist visas, and they may get approved and may not. Tony says, I filed I-130 petition for my wife 2 months ago. Would it hurt or make it delayed if I apply for K4 visa? Well, you're going to apply for K3, not a K4, unless you have children, but that's that. Is it free consultation? Do you have to pay? It's paid. It's paid, definitely paid. But we get more, because if I was doing a free consultation, what lawyers do is sometimes they have you talk with an assistant, or like they just like don't really listen to you and just do a sales thing. Our consultations are deep. We get into it. There's a follow-up. There's emails. Like we break down what the issues are. We do the research. You're getting like probably $1,000 worth of legal services within that fixed time. So it's hard to know on your angle. So you guys aren't hiring lawyers all the time to be able to differentiate between what these lawyers are doing and why they charge consultation if you don't. But internally, when you know what's going on, how much service is being provided, if you look at my reviews, the only bad reviews I have are people who said it's too expensive. I'm not going to do another bad reviews. Very stupid, frankly. But all the people who did have consultations, people who just had consultation, if you read the reviews, they're like, oh, I'm so glad I did it. We spent so much time. We got a relationship going. We know each other. There's a lot that goes on. It's a relationship you want to have. Someone knows what's going on in your life and cares enough to ask questions, to have your reputation for that. And so that's what we provide there. Blue says, USS still waiving adjustments through marriage, waiving adjustment of status through marriage. It's not waiving, I mean waiving interviews. Yeah, for most cases. Marriage says, given I'm on an F1 visa, getting married to a U.S. citizen, or I have a marriage license, congrats. Yeah, download my guide, marriageimmigrationlaw.com, Mariam, and then contact the office for consultation. Again, we focus on those cases. Jock says, I'm an I-140 since 2007. What's the next step? I don't know what country you're from. That makes a big difference. Katie says, for I-485, I got an interview, but no answer, approval, or denial. You just got to wait. User Finance says, is adjusting status of tourist visa Canadian while they're risky? Is a fiance visa better? It's not. It depends on what's going on and what you said at the airport and your history is and your work history is. User 59. So it's fact specific. What I'm going to advise on there. Mariam says, that's why I'm asking if adjustment status can be applied for. Yeah, that's why I said, Mariam, you can do concurrent filing if you're married to U.S. citizen. Concurrent filing means you can file for I-130 petition and the adjustment of status application and corresponding documents, I-864, I-131, I-765, all at the same time. Katie says, went back to reviewing. Katie, I lost track of what the last thing you said was. Sorry. So many questions popping up. Okay, user. Okay, I'm going to call it a day. We're already over. I'll get one more question. Let's see, one last question. My husband is here legally. With the interview waived? It depends on other factors. Brian says, I'm in the military. Can I expedite the marriage visa or fiance? I have a lot of military cases, Brian. We do free consultations for active duty military personnel. So if that's you, give us proof you're military. We'll do a free consultation. But the government, just the embassies and USCIS just have no love for military, man. They say they do, but everything is forever. The only thing that can be sped up is once your spouse is a green card holder, we could probably speed up getting citizenship. But the basic case itself, it's not. They're supposed to help you expedite and stuff, but I've had problems with a lot of the embassies and USCIS regards to expediting. So I'm not optimistic. Okay, one last question. I have DACA. Myra says, I did advanced pro last year, but they didn't stamp my documents. Can I still renew? Probably. There must be something online that shows you enter or re-entered, but probably. But I have to see what's going on, so I can't answer that. Myra says, how much is the consultation? In my case, do you have openings mid-January? Yeah, we have January openings. December's a little tougher, but it's between $200 to $325, depending on if you want to talk to my associate, the lower amount, with me, the higher amount. But Mariam, you can talk to my associate. She's probably better talk with me because I'm busy running the whole business, and we are behind the scenes reviewing everything together anyways. So just email the office and we'll connect you. You're welcome, Myra. And I guess with that, God bless everyone. Be safe. And I'll see you next Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And with that, we'll call it a day. God bless you. Be safe. I'm John Khosravi. Email us at info@jqklaw.com.